Growing up, my mom had a collection of DVDs, but there were 3 in that catalog that I could quote from start to finish. Friday After Next, Scary Movie 2, and the film we are going to be talking about today, Bring It On, the original. There was a point in my childhood where I had played the DVD so much that I started watching it in Spanish. Why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe I thought it would give me a different watch experience. I'm not sure.
Mi gente latino.
I'm sharing this to say that Bring It On is one of those films that will always have a special place in my heart. So special that it is in my Letterboxd top 4. Hey, that's my truth. I wouldn't expect you to understand. But honestly, what's not to love? The cast is amazing. It was very much ahead of its time with its themes about cultural appropriation. And we partially got not another teen movie because this film exists. But before I get too ahead of myself, hello, my name is Keisha, aka Shay, aka Shake and Bake, and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. Thank you for your support. And now let's jump into the video. Bring It On is a teen comedy starring Kirsten Dunst as a new cheerleading captain of the Rancho Carne Toros. She finds out that her predecessor stole all of their award-winning cheers from a predominantly Black and Latino inner city school, the East Compton Clovers. On the heels of this news, she is left with the task of creating an original routine for her squad just in time for nationals. On a budget of $11 million, this film grossed a little over $90 million, effectively becoming a box office smash that spawned 6 franchise sequels. I really only recognize like 2 of those sequels, to be honest. This film is credited with launching stars like Gabrielle Union into the mainstream, as it was her first major role in a film. She had smaller roles in films and one-off appearances in TV shows, but this role alongside one of the biggest girl groups at the time, Black, really boosted Gabrielle's stock, and she is still one of the hardest working women in Hollywood to this day. Other familiar names like Eliza Dushku of Buffy the Vampire Slayer fame also carries in her role as the iconic lesbian, allegedly, Missy Pantone. Now, I know how much I love this film may make me a little biased in my opinion, but in this video, I posed the question, is Bring It On still culturally relevant? In my opinion, the answer is, well, yes, but I hope by the end of the video, you'll think so as well. So let me start off by saying that Torrance Shipman is one of my favorite characters ever written. She was a true ally. When she found out that Big Red stole those cheers from the Clovers, she was genuinely sad about the fact that a team as talented as the Clovers had been overshadowed for years and tried everything in her power to make sure that she did not repeat the mistakes of her predecessors. No matter how much Courtney and Whitney tried to overrule her decisions, she always stuck to her guns and stood up for what was right. Now, don't get me wrong, Torrance and her squad coming up with original cheers is the bare minimum, really, but Torrance had no incentive to change course. She could have continued to use the routine that Big Red had given her and kept it pushing, but Torrance had integrity and a mutual respect for Isis, who was the cheer captain of the Clovers, and she was also the new captain of her team, so there was a mutual respect from Torrance to Isis and vice versa. Torrance even fought to get the Clovers sponsored for nationals when she found out that they couldn't afford to go, even though they had made it, by having her dad's company write a check for them. Even though I can admit this came off a little, white savior-y, it was still well intended. Torrance also was really close friends with 2 of the queer characters in the film. Well, a queer character and a queer coded character. Leslie, a gay male cheerleader on the Toros, and Missy, who is a lesbian coded character who constantly gets slurs hurled at her throughout the film. I'm sorry, shoot me, but Big Dyke Loser will always be funny to me. That will always be funny to me. I'm so sorry. Throughout the film, the 3 of them were always on the same page. They all stuck up for each other, and Missy and Leslie always voted against the group's attempts to backdoor Torrance's decisions. And I just wish that we got more scenes of them as a trio in the film. So I really do think that was a missed opportunity. In 2026, there are a lot of conversations about performative allyship, people who will say that they're allies online, but when it is time to show up for the groups they claim to ride for, they don't. We need more allies like Torrance. She knew her team only had 3 weeks to come up with a whole new routine for nationals, but she didn't let that stop her or her team from creating something new. She didn't just say she was sorry to the Clovers and then go back and just continue to use the same cheers. She showed that she was sorry through her words and and actions. That is true allyship. In this film, I think that the cultural appropriation was handled pretty well, especially for a film that was released in the year 2000. Jesus. Even though it wasn't explicitly named cultural appropriation in the movie, it was pretty blatant that that's what they were going for. The first meeting of the Clovers lets you know visually first what type of story we are getting. The Rancho Carnetoros are an all-white team from a higher income, suburban, preppy, predominantly white school, while the Clovers are from a lower income inner city, predominantly black and brown high school. I loved Isis as a captain, and she delivered some of my favorite lines throughout the film. I also love the first interaction that the Clovers have with Torrance and Missy. After the basketball game at East Compton High School, Isis confronts Torrance and Missy after she assumes that Torrance has taken over Raggedy Ann. I'm still Big Red. Big Red's role of coming to their games to record their cheers. She's not nice. She doesn't shrink herself. She was assertive and rightfully skeptical of Torrance's claims that she had no idea that Big Red was stealing cheers.
Burr, it's cold in here. I said there must be some toros in the atmosphere. I know you didn't think a white girl made that shit up.
Although I was kind of on Janelope's side of like, let's beat these girls' ass, Isis was right in stopping her because she knew that it would not be productive to their goals. She wanted things to be different with her as captain, and she made sure that her squad felt taken care of under her leadership. She also didn't want any help from Torrance because she didn't want to feel like they were being pitied. She was proud of where she and her squad were from and wanted to share that pride with the rest of the cheer world. The Clovers are clearly from an underserved area, and that's why Big Red felt she could come and steal their cheers for years and get away with it. She knew that this school would probably never make it to nationals because their school wouldn't be able to afford to send the team to Daytona. This is all too familiar for Black and POC creatives in real life. The first thing that comes to mind is how TikTok trends, sounds, and dances will be created by smaller Black creators on the platform and barely get any views. Then a white creator will come, do that trend, use that sound, copy that dance, and not credit the original creator, and somehow they wind up on Jimmy Fallon doing the dance, saying the sounds, doing the trends that they didn't create. Or we could talk about aesthetics. Black people, especially Black Americans, are the originators of all kinds of different genres of music, fashion trends, and slang that people use, but we are constantly getting discredited for our contributions to pop culture. This film isn't, innocent of kind of sort of doing what the film is critiquing. Like I mentioned, there was a very famous girl group in this film called Black. They were a group put together by TLC member Left Eye when she was alive, another huge Black group. And at the time of the release of this film, Black was one of the biggest girl groups in the world with two of the biggest songs on the radio at the time. And the marketing team used them and Gabrielle Union in a lot of the promotional material for the film, but they were barely even in the film. Okay? Kind of fucked up. Gabrielle Union has gone on to say that they shot a lot of extra scenes that did not make the final cut. And if you watch the original trailer of this movie, you can see a lot of these scenes. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if they did it for time, but it just came off as if they used the popularity of these Black stars to draw in a more diverse crowd just to cut them out of the majority of the film, which, like I said, contradicts the themes of the movie in a way. So they do get points knocked off for that, in my opinion. There was also some discourse a while back with people saying that the Toros should have gotten first place, and that just kind of lets me know that you were not paying attention to the movie. The whole time, the movie is letting you know that the Toros were only at the top because they took all of their routines from the Clovers, indirectly saying that the Clovers have always been the better team. Also, this is a good lesson for people who think that just because you decided to finally do the right thing, that doesn't mean that you will be rewarded in the way that you think you should, or rewarded at all for that matter. Yes, I'm talking about the people that think just because they're not in the MAGA cult anymore, that people are supposed to welcome you with open arms and forgive you for voting for an unqualified racist criminal 3 times. Please miss me with that altogether. Overall, I do think that Bring It On is a classic early 2000s teen comedy. I do think that it is still culturally relevant, and it will always have a special place in my heart. And it will continue to be a film that I return to for comfort because Lord knows in these trying times, we all need a little comfort. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if there are any more films you want me to talk about, and tell me what's your favorite Bring It On movie in the franchise. Thank you for all the support on my last video. I didn't expect it to do as well as it did. I'm very happy that it is doing that well. So thank you for all the support once again. If you are one of my friends and family members watching, I love you. I will see y'all in the next one. Goodbye. Spear fingers.